Welcome to the Get Involved and Level Up podcast. I'm Tami Ngubeni. Today we're coming to you from the Budget Vote Skills Exhibition held at the Grand Parade in Cape Town. What an exciting day it is. The SETAs, the Department of Higher Education and Training, TVET colleges, NSFAS, various stakeholders all gathered here, ensuring that all of these opportunities are brought to the people in the communities that they live in. So today we're going to look at how pathways to career guidance, work placements, access to education, training and funding have been made so much easier by a mere simple act of ensuring that what the community needs is brought to them. We'll be speaking to various stakeholders from the Department of Higher Education and Training to providers of skills to the various SETAs themselves to find out how this access can be made permanent and easily accessible. Joining us this afternoon is Deputy Minister Nomusa Dube-Ncube. What a day it has been inside in Parliament at the budget vote. And now you are out here and you are doing the walkabout with your other colleagues, the minister, your principal, as well as the other deputy minister. Your observations of this exhibition, which is taking place post the budget vote.
Yes, thank you very much, Tami, for having us here. We're very excited about this exhibition, Tami, as we've just presented our budget vote today. This is an exhibition that we are actually going to be taking all over the country. We are calling it the Skills on Wheels. Because we want to expose our young people to skills. But also we want to make what we call the TVET college the first choice when young people think about the higher education and training, because we believe that the country needs people with skills. It's no longer about what you have, but it's about what can you do. When people want to employ, they don't want to employ you because you have a certificate, but they want to employ you because you can do something with that certificate. And our experience is that our country needs to create employment. Our country needs to create entrepreneurs. And if we are to create entrepreneurs, if we are create jobs, we need people that can manufacture. We need people that can create jobs themselves, as if rather than relying on somebody else to create jobs for ourselves. We need small businesses, and if we are to create small businesses, we need people who can do things. So that is why it's important that we then now bring the SETAs as well, so that they can tell people what training training services are available.
When we talk about TVET colleges, you mentioned that your desire is for them to be the institution of choice for students. Is that the case right now? And how are TVET colleges viewed compared to universities? Because Maskula, university, go and get that degree. So how is that right now? What have you found in your experience?
Unfortunately, the community and the perception out there is still the one that looks at universities as the prestigious, choice, and that's the mindset that we need to change within our society, because what we've experienced in the industry is that when you look at the mining, when you look at technology, you look at robotics, you look at artificial intelligence, you look at manufacturing, all of those things. In fact, when you wake up in the morning, everything that you touch, everything that you do has got to do with something that is done by somebody who has done a vocational training. Whether you're eating, whether you're washing, whether you're doing anything that you do, it's something that has been touched by a mechanic. It's something that has been done by something who's gone through vocational training. And that is what we are saying. We're saying that, yes, universities are good, but universities are only teaching us, research.
Right.
You can't work with research. You still need to do practical training. You still need to learn to do something with your hands. You still need to do. You need to learn knowledge after you do that research, and that is what we are talking about. We are also we're talking to universities also, even to our TVET colleges, to say we need to change the way we do our curriculum. Our curriculum needs to align to the industry. We go to industries all the time. I have given myself, an assignment of working closely with the industry. I go to industry and I ask them, why are you not taking our students to do, practical training with your company? And they will tell us, your children do not have, the skills that we need. And we ask them, what skills do you need? And they tell us, oh, these are the skills that we need. Now, we are saying, industry, please come sit down with us. Tell us, what skills do you need? Our TVET colleges, our universities, we need to change the curriculum so that the curriculum talks to the industry. We cannot teach something that is not talking to the industry.
It has to be relevant.
It has to be relevant to the industry. Industry come, and some of the industry players must even be lecturers, so that we are preparing our learners for the industry, so that industry are the one that dictates to us, so that we can grow our economy, so that we can create people that are going straight to the industry. That is what we are doing now.
Deputy Minister, you mentioned something quite key in our conversation, speaking about the need for imisebenzi yezandla, skills that one can actually do in the age of artificial intelligence, in the age of information, because this is where we are. Information is now easily collatable, research is easily done by artificial intelligence, but what it cannot do is what hands can do. And so it speaks to what you were talking about TVET colleges being the first choice, because this perhaps is the era that we're in.
Yeah, this is the era we are in, Tammy, but also even universities. We're saying universities cannot operate. There's going to be time, Tammy, when people don't spend 4 years, 5 years in universities, because the research that you would have done 4 years, 3 years in universities, you can do it with AI 3 months, 2 months, even 24 hours. And that's going to change. So we've got to adapt. We've got to teach jobs that are needed by the future. So the whole curriculum, the whole thinking, we need to adjust, we need to transform. We cannot sit where we were 20 years ago. The global transformation that is happening, we've got to keep up with the times. Otherwise, we are wasting the future of our kids. We are also wasting our country, because the country is going to be stagnant. The country is going to be left behind. So we need to change. We need to transform our minds. We need to transform our country. We need to transform the curriculum. We need to modernize our curriculum. We need to modernize even the machinery that we are using even ourselves, so that when our kids also come out of school, when they go to the industry, they are able to utilize the machinery that they were taught with at school, the same machinery that they will find in the industry. I can give you an example what we've just done recently. We've got kids that we've just sent to China. We trained them with one of the universities. They were doing electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, and they came back and they're now working for BYD cars. We've sent another 36. They're back as well. They're now working for BYD as well. And that tells you that the training that we are doing now needs to be targeted. When we train, young people, we must know what we're training them for. We must train them for industry. We've just sent another young people that are not in school, not in the education. They're going to be doing, electric vehicles. They're going to be doing, new power station, green power station, hydrogen power station, all of those things. And we know that we're talking power stations that are not going to be, power stations that are going to be using coal. So they're going to be coming back and doing all of those things that we don't have at the moment. And that is what we are preparing. We're preparing for the jobs that are not even here today, jobs that are coming in the 20 years.
It's such a mammoth task, Deputy Minister, as you speak now, because you as the department, as the leadership in this sphere, are also put in a position where you've got to reinvent yourself,
yes,
where you've got to prepare the country for the skills, yes, and the technology of the future. But thank you so much for chatting to us this afternoon.
Yes.
That's Deputy Minister Nomusa Dube-Ncube. One thing that is for certain, these skills on wheels, as she calls them, are certainly making sure that the skills of the future, the professions of the future are brought into our communities. It's time for us to open up our minds and really make sure that we're prepared for a tomorrow that was really not the same as our past. And TVET colleges, as the Deputy Minister says, are and should be the first choice of higher learning institutions for students, young people, and even those who are going to be looking for jobs into the future. Joining us is the Minister of Higher Education, Minister Abuti Manamela. Good to have you with us this afternoon, sir. Talk to us about the importance and the relevance of having an exhibition centre of this nature just after the budget vote.
Look, I mean, there's no other way in which our department can bring life to its budget vote other than opening up in terms of what this department is about. And this is the entirety of our ecosystem. You have community colleges here, you have CETAs here, you have TVET colleges, you have universities, you have the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, the Quality Council for Trades and Occupations. All of those are part of a system. And our intention in presenting today's budget is that not just one component of the entirety of the system should strive to drag out of the pack. We have to work as a pack if we're to succeed. So it means that CETAS and the National Skills Fund, which are basically the financial spine of the system, needs to make sure that they support community colleges, they support TVET colleges, they support universities. Of course, they've done so much with universities, but we need to see much more action in our TVETs and CET colleges. Those two institutional types are the spine of our skills revolution. If we do not support them, it means we've failed. And why am I saying that? The 3.4 million young people are not in employment, education, and training, are looking for these two institutional types as their opportunity. Yes, they're also looking at the NSF, they're looking at the CETAs, but if they try and do it alone, we will not succeed. Similarly, university with their research, capacity, knowledge need to feed into the entire system. We need to know what's the labor market intelligence out there. We need to be training lecturers. We need to be training facilitators. We need to be presenting evidence on the type of interventions that need to, that needs to be made. And so today's budget was about putting together that entirety of that ecosystem in Parliament, but having it out here so that people can have access to a variety of services under one roof. This is not the last time we're doing this. We're going to be going out as this unit. And, and when it gets into communities, into villages and all of that, it is not just going to be about handing out leaflets. We'll also be introducing young people to digital skills, short digital skills, literacy skills. We'll be talking about young people trying a skill to try and see what is it that they're capable of. Career services have seen some of the provisions that people are making here, very creative way of getting young people to understand what career pathing, they should follow. So this package will be the skills on wheels that we take to the people to ensure that they've got access not just to information and knowledge, but also the skill that they may require.
I'd like you, Minister. I was having a conversation yesterday with a colleague, and I remarked that as South Africa, we do not realize how good we have it, literally. I don't know of many countries on the African continent who give as much support to young people, to job seekers, to entrepreneurs as South Africa does, as far as access to information, access to even funding and grant funding. I'd like you, Minister, to speak to that young person or that job seeker who sees all of this. Because sometimes when you grow up in an age where things are readily available, you don't see their value and you don't recognize what it is that you actually have until it's actually gone. Talk to us about the importance of the collaborative partnerships and relationships that are being offered here.
Look, I mean, we have to self-introspect as government, as the private sector, as unions, as organizations, as to if we believe that the services and products that we provide to young people have not gotten the traction that it should, what is it that is wrong that we're doing? But I also think that we, should not exaggerate the extent within which young people are disinterested. And I think most are. Just this morning, with the kind of turnout that we've had, and I think it's about how do we bridge that barrier? How do we ensure that we simplify the message in such a way that they're able to understand and take advantage of it? I am in no way under the belief that there would be a young person who's just disinterested, who like and do nothing and all of that. I think that the natural instinct in you will kick in.
That's right.
You must go out and hunt. And so our role is to make that hunting easier. Our role is to create the platforms that young people need in order to get a hand up.
I so agree with you, because as you say, we all have that inner drive within ourselves to better our lives. Bekasho bathini uzoyithola kanjani uhlele ekhoneni akekho umuntu ohlele ekhoneni, and even if uhlele ekhoneni ushaya ipop.
Exactly.
So you're still hustling, you're still trying to get your things together. So I really like what you're saying. It's like, how do you better connect with the young people, because you know that what you're offering is something that they want, it's something that they need, but how do you then connect? And I guess the Skills on Wheels is one way of ensuring that happens.
Skills on Wheels is one way. But I think we, when I was telling somebody earlier that I did my standard 10 at the time in 1996.
You're dating yourself.
Some years ago. And the following year, of course, I was much more determined about what I wanted to study. But there were also anxieties that I didn't know my mother was going through. Whether will she be able to afford me going into a university, and all of that. But I think that the situation has become a little bit better now. But even then, so even then when we went on into universities and all of that, we were almost confined in terms of what we could study. And now the opportunities are out there for young people. Access to information has become much better. Access to the actual institutions have become much better. And I really want to applaud particularly, what our government, our department has done, working together, of course, within the system. And more importantly, our SETAs, services SETA, as you were saying, you were at the funeral services associations. Those are the things which people do not know, that government is connecting people with opportunities. And it's not just about young people, it's about young adults, it's about also older people who need to be skilled. This is the one department which does not discriminate. Well, yeah, maybe us and the Department of Social Development, but everyone, every household has in one way or another a need and connection with the education and skills system. And so when we fail everyone, and that's why we have to succeed.
And talking about having to succeed, my last question to you, NSFAS
Yes.
and the challenges that have been experienced there, how are those being addressed?
Well, we're stabilizing NSFAS, and I think at the bottom of all of it, for me, is that we have to make sure that if we've made a commitment to a student that will pay their allowance, we do so. We pay their tuition, we do so. And I think we're beginning to meet up that commitment. We should not confuse the challenges of governance, which relates to the accounting authority. Yes, those are important and may have implications, to the running of the institution. But our intention is to make sure that we stabilize NSFAS, and then we can speak about the options. And a lot of options are on the table, but central to what we will present to cabinet is the fact that student funding has to be sustainable. We shouldn't go back again and again to Treasury and saying we need more money. Secondly, it should also be accessible, meaning that it should be both those who qualify for grants and bursaries, but also those who want to borrow money from the state or through the state for them to be able to study, especially children of nurses and teachers and policemen, who do not earn enough for them to be able to afford
That missing middle.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So I think it is those dynamics that we have to handle. Once we've decided what we want to do and what sort of sustainable financial stream aid model we want to preserve as a country, we then can design a system to be able to administer that.
Let me let you go, Minister. We thank you so much for your time. And thank you for being here. I see that you had a great time going through the exhibitions today. You even had your handprint taken.
Yeah.
But maybe before I let you go, what is the one thing that really struck you? Is there anything novel, anything different, anything new that you noticed as you were doing your walk?
Quite a lot. I think the use of technology to spread career services and also to send out the message. That's one. Two, I think the practicality of some of the exhibitors. So it's not just about what do we do, but it's also about showing what they do. So it begins to open up eyes, for the very many, but also the profile of the people who are here to seek information. I mean, you would expect when you come to something like this, mostly school kids in uniforms and so forth. The intention is for this to serve South Africans across the age spectrum and generations.
And I love what you say, because that's literally what a lot of people are complaining about. Uti, life doesn't end at 35.
Oh yes, of course.
Life doesn't end. Actually, most of the responsibilities start post that.
Yeah.
So you still need to know how to live, still need to know how to take care of your family, and it's not over till it's over, right? Thank you so much, Minister.
Thank you so much. Great. Sure.
It's a Minister of Higher Education, Minister Buti Malamene. And you heard him. Skills on Wheels will be making their way throughout the entire country. So make sure that you find out where they're going to be and that you will be attending these various sessions. They really are just an eye-opener, preparing you for your tomorrow. Just after the budget vote, we are still at the skills exhibition at the Grand Parade. There are a number of seaters here, a number of training providers as well that are present, and delighted to be chatting to in just a moment the CEO of the Energy and Water Seater, Mr. Robin Vilagazi. Good to have you with us, Robin.
Hi, thanks for having us.
So tell us more about your Seater, Energy and Water. What do you do?
All right. There are 21 seaters in the country, and we report to the Department of Higher Education and Training. All of our mandate is the same, and it's to strategically plan for the skills needs of our sector. So we do that through research and a range of other initiatives. And then in response to what the research tells us, we coordinate and facilitate a great range of skills development programs throughout the country, aimed at various different groups of people to ensure that our sectors are able to function and that they've got capable and competent people. So in my case, in the case of Energy and Water Seater, we do that for the energy and water industries.
So energy and water, that's really broad.
Yeah.
What are the career opportunities in general? Obviously, I'm not expecting you to name them all, but some
There's no way.
examples of the career opportunities that people can get to in the energy and water sector.
Yeah, I think the biggest group of people that are employed in the sector are your technical people. And by that, I don't just mean engineers, but of course, engineers are part of what's needed in the sector. But artisanal and technician level skilled professionals and semi skilled professionals are very important in the energy and water sector. So if you think about it, energy and water are utilities of the country, and they run off technical machinery, infrastructure, and so on. And so that's why we need people who are able to work in those areas, which means that you ought to have some technical knowledge and training, but also the ability to practically apply what it is that you might have learned in a theoretical environment. And then, interestingly, in our sectors, they are being transformed. So we know that the energy sector has undergone significant transformation in the past few years, and that will continue. In the water sector, we're also at that stage where there is significant reform in the sector. And so, what that is actually requiring is a much broader range of skills. And I'll make an example. Um, in the energy sector, we've always had ESCOM who provided energy. And now we have renewable energy independent power producers who need to bid for the opportunity to provide energy onto the grid. And so when they even submit those bids, that would have gone through extensive due diligence processes, financial modeling, there's legal understanding that's needed to bring deals together, and all those types of aspects. So we actually see a need for all of those financial, legal, the ability to communicate with communities. So we call it community liaison. All of those types of skills are also increasingly needed in the sector. The ability to write regulations that will serve the future sector. These are all some of the extra non-technical skills that are increasingly needed by energy and water.
Could you talk to us about how the different sectors are creating various career pathways for individuals? As you mentioned, you're one of many
Yeah.
sectors, and why that differentiation is actually important.
So, in terms of the different sectors, we all serve different sectors, as I had indicated. What's important in the differentiation is that the needs of each sector is unique to an extent. Of course, there's a base level of competence that is required to even enter the workforce, to enter into entrepreneurship. But if you look at the value chain of all of the different sectors, the type of skills that are needed can be quite different and unique. And part of the very important part of the role of SETAs, I know that we're typically seen as funders of skills development, and yes, we do have funds for skills development. But the important role of SETAs is to bring industry into the process of capacitating itself for the future. And so the expertise that sits in SETAs is able to uniquely interact with industry because we've got that specific industry knowledge and background. And that allows us to have conversations with them, assist with their workforce planning and their capability planning for the future as government.
And talking about that workforce planning and capacitating for the future, the energy and water sector is traditionally seen as a very much male dominated environment.
Yeah.
Is that indeed the case? And how are you drawing more women into that space?
Absolutely. So, as part of our research, the research findings of EWC that tells us that although we have women in the sector, it is a slightly smaller proportion. They make up a slightly smaller proportion of the workforce. Disturbingly, what we find is that as you progress through the different levels of management, or progress throughout your career, we see that as we get closer and closer to the tops of organizations, women are less prevalent there. So our response has been twofold. I think from the perspective of young people entering into the workforce for the first time, the training that we provide to young people targets majority females. So in the past 5 years, for example, on average, you would find between 51 and 56% of the training that we provide, you would find a female at the other end of that training. And that's for new entrants into the workforce. But what we've also identified as a strategic focus area is the leadership development of women to take on those roles that are post-technical, where you progress into the management and leadership roles in organizations. So for a number of years, um, basically annually, we've recruited a cohort of women who would be identified by their organizations to perhaps be in the leadership pipeline, or who self-identify as wanting to take up those roles. And we develop really bespoke and really focused programs to develop their management and leadership capabilities, and to develop the whole person to be able to, when those opportunities arise, to be able to step into them.
And I wonder what role climate change has played in the type of courses that you're offering,
Yeah.
and also in the curricula itself.
Yeah.
It's a changing world, it's a changing environment that needs dynamic changing skills. How have you adapted to that?
Well, firstly, one of the roles of CETAs is to work closely with the QCTO. The QCTO is responsible, they're the quality council that is responsible for the development and approval of qualifications that are required, but all needs for qualifications come from industry, and they come through a CETA who would have vetted that need together with the industry. So we have a number of qualifications that we then also develop as the CETAs on behalf of the QCTO. We convene expert panels from industry to develop curricula. In EW CETA, we've got quite a number of qualifications that we've developed over the past few years in response to new technologies being introduced in the energy space, as an example.
So you develop those in-house?
With experts from industry, but we coordinate the process and we make sure that it follows certain quality
You fund
standards.
the process as well?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. So in the space of renewable energy, we've now got solar PV qualifications, we've got battery technology qualifications, we've got wind turbine technology qualifications. All of these are new technologies that have come into the country in the past few years, and which now need to be, we need to have qualifications that are delivered at scale for them. And so we've done that. So with curricula as well, we ensure that as the world of work evolves and as technology evolves, we update curricula accordingly. So if you look at something like the hydrogen sector, we've got one new qualification in the hydrogen space with fuel cell technology, which is a new technology. But if you look at a number of existing qualifications, even in the energy space more broadly, electrical and so on, there's a component about the knowledge about hydrogen, it's the safe handling of it and so on, that we're now embedding as we review existing qualifications to ensure that they remain aligned and that they have that perspective of looking at the hydrogen economy as well. So those are some of the interventions that we've got around curricula.
As far as apprenticeships and workplace training is concerned, how key is that to your particular CETA, and how key is that to people entering the industry?
It's everything. It's everything. It really prepares young people who've not worked before.
Does it
for
have
the
to be young
workforce.
people?
Not always, but if in the case of someone who hasn't worked before, you need that introduction into what it is that you're working with. And especially when you're talking about technicians and artisans, like you've referenced, there's no way that I can be a plumber having just read about being a plumber, you know?
I wouldn't employ you as my plumber
There you
if
go.
you've just read.
Exactly. Electrician, even worse.
Even worse.
Exactly. So that's where industry comes in and why their role is so important. And at EWCETA, we operate on a partnership model. We partner very closely with industry. So it's individual companies in industry, but also industry associations to ensure that industry is thinking skills at the right time. So we don't want them to be thinking about skills when they're trying to recruit someone and they're not able to find the right skill. They need to be thinking ahead with us. We do, you know, if you look at the work that EWCETA does, we make sure that we are so active and present in our industry that they know us and that we know them, so that they avail themselves of the opportunity to be partners with us in skills planning and in skills delivery. And I think I think we've done well at it. There's a lot more to do, and there's always more to do. You can always do better, but I really do value our industry partnerships. So they make a lot of opportunities available for people to come in who are being trained for the first time and don't have work experience to come in and actually get exposure to the real stuff. They do give a lot of opportunities, and I think we call on industry to do more, but we do understand that there are also business priorities. So we try to balance those things, working together with them.
What are the business priorities that could hinder the apprenticeship and learnership process?
So, first of all, there's the bottom line. There's the bottom line in that business can't necessarily take on more people than they can take on. The minute you take on people, even if the SETA funds the financial component of it, there's an element of time, resources, the tools of the trade, and so on that we do expect business to come on board with. And so they're only able to do that in as far as the capacity of the business allows. And then I think also ultimately, business to survive needs to serve its clients to the satisfaction of those clients. And to do that, it's very easy to do it when you've got people who are already experienced, who've gone through their programs and who've been working in the sector. The minute you bring someone into the space who doesn't have that experience, there's a chance in the way that they interact with your clients that it might reflect poorly on you, especially if they're inexperienced. Now, these things can totally be overcome, and that's why the relationship between a SETA and industry is so important, so that we ensure that we manage those things, but we do understand the limitations that are there, and we don't want businesses to be, we want them to do business. We want business to thrive in South Africa, and we want South Africa to be a country that is able to solve its own problems, and we want business to really do and be at the forefront of that. They should have their eye on skills delivery, and they should be involved and active participants in skills delivery and in skills planning. And we try to get that balance right with them.
So using this opportunity, Robin, for a young person or an individual that has been interested in the water and the energy space, and really want to get into it as a career for themselves, what would you say to that person who's listening now about the opportunities that exist? How do you pitch your portfolio and your sector to the best of your ability?
So I wish that the energy and water sectors were as interesting and dynamic when I was a young person looking at careers, right? Right now, because of the changes we've seen in the energy sector and the changes we're about to see in the water sector, it is an extremely dynamic and exciting sector to be in. And things are changing yearly, not always on a day-to-day basis, but yearly. And that means that anyone who proves themselves capable and competent can find very interesting gaps. They can create new jobs that never existed before. They can create all types of, they can bring ideas to the fore, because the space is so open for new ideas. It's so open for new people to come in and see things a little bit different. So that is what I think is really exciting about the sector. We see a lot of mobility in the sector as well. So you might start your career in one place, but you can move around so nicely. And even just anecdotally, I'm an accountant by training, and I found myself in this space, and it's so exciting to be here, and I find other accountants in the space. So it's really exciting. It's a sector where you get your foot in the door and then prove yourself, and you can honestly find yourself anywhere. So it's really cool to be in our industry right now.
It certainly looks like the place to pivot, right?
Yeah,
the energy and water sector. But as we wrap up today, just your recollections about this exhibition today, the people that you've met, the observation, and just the importance of being able to bring these opportunities and the education that you're talking to our communities directly in this manner.
Absolutely, yeah. Today's really beautiful. It's a really beautiful expression of collaboration amongst institutions in the higher education space. And I love where we are located. So we're in the center of the city. When I was coming in this morning, you see a lot of interest, and people just coming in and popping by. And I think that's really important for access. So today is a really beautiful expression of the collaboration and of us going out and being in communities and being with people and just sharing information and sharing opportunities. But I also must say that honestly, we do this a lot as well. I can't tell in this week how many exhibitions we'll be doing, but I can tell you for sure that this is not the the only one. I can tell you that even as EWCTA last week, there were a number of exhibitions that we were part of. So it's something that we are constantly doing, and yeah, it's really beautiful.
It really
It's really
is.
beautiful
It
to
really
see,
is.
and it's wonderful to connect with people. It's important for us also to be on the ground and understand that when we've got these opportunities available, what are the limitations that prevent people from accessing it? So this gives us the opportunity also to hear what are the particular challenges on the ground so that we also adapt to be able to serve people better.
Well, lovely chatting to you.
Thank
You keep the energy going. You keep the water flowing. It's been
do so.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank
She's
you.
the CEO of the Energy and Water SETA. We're here right in the heart of Cape Town. And one of the beautiful things that she mentioned is people are literally just walking around. So if you're walking by, you can see beautiful, bright, what color is this? Orange. Bright orange and white and blue and red and other colors. And it's just so attractive with the music playing, etc. But you come in and you realize that it's actually an opportunity for you to tap into other skills, to tap into opportunities, educational opportunities, and who knows, maybe get yourself onto a career path like the energy and water career path, which really is evolving. It is one of the sectors of the future. You can quote me on that. Joining us this afternoon is Dr. Feleng Yende from the FP&A SETA. Good to have you with us, good doctor.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Now, you're very much in the manufacturing and production space, but tell us more about your SETA and what you do.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Tammy. My SETA is, I call it a vibrant SETA. It's one of the creative SETAs where really hands are on deck. People are really using their hands to learn different products. So FPM SETA, it's in full is fiber processing and manufacturing. Fiber really stands for, so just from a value chain, right, of production, we start with forestry, where we plant trees. And from forest management, we then get, the trees themselves. From trees, what we then do, we process these trees to get different types of materials. It could be textile, it could be wood for furniture, and many other products that are actually, even paper, by the way.
Yes.
People don't know that we get this paper from trees. So even paper, we actually get it from them. Then that is the primary. The secondary phase is then where we then have these products ready. When you go to print media, you find your journalists, your universities, your colleges using now this paper to write books, to educate young people, to write stories, and all of that. That is why we also now have in our value chain publishing, because the publishers then use the paper that is coming from the tree to actually write books. Then from writing, writers are in our subsector, editors are in our subsectors, publishers are in our subsectors. That is why there are opportunities for us to also work with writers who are interested in indigenous language writing, because we are encouraging that as well. Then you also have in the secondary sector as phase, we have your textiles, your cotton, your silk, and all of that. That are the silk is coming from sheep. So there's also just an interlink with your agriculture as well, where animals and all of that, we get sheep skin, we get cow, we get
Snakes.
lizards, we get snakes, all of that. We process those to manufacture belts, to manufacture bags, to manufacture clothes, etc., etc. Now, once we move from there to developing a product, that becomes tertiary. Mm-hmm. Now we have got from that tree, we now have a dress, we have got a table which sits in our manufacturing subsector. We have got a book which sits in our publishing and printing subsector. You've got a newspaper that's kept sitting in the print media subsector. Those now become our tertiary products that we have manufactured from primary, which is planting of trees, taking care of animals and all of that, growing of animals and all of that.
So as the SETA, because it's an extensive value chain,
Yeah, huge.
and a very diverse value
Huge.
chain,
Yeah.
are you then saying that, are you involved for the entire lifespan of this product?
Yes.
From its
Yes.
seed,
Yes.
incubation,
Yes.
growth,
Yes.
to harvesting?
Correct. 100%. So therefore, we will then have all the opportunities in the entire value chain. But I know most people are more because when you are in the forestry, you need your science, you need your maths to understand, what the water, how to utilize water, to define a tree, to be. Sometimes people say, no, to do agriculture is just a simple thing. If you apply science to it, you can even be better at it, right? And then production, we also do need some science and maths. And I think that's why it's important for our young people to really think about doing real maths. Real maths. This
real
literacy thing is not really helping them. But the real thing is really helping them because at the end of the day, and this is where our struggle is across the cities now, is the exit.
Right.
Your exits, people get stuck at qualifications. We should not say people are qualified, people have got papers. That's not the intention of the sector. The intention of the sector is to facilitate and to encourage job creation. We are actually not established to be job creators, but to encourage and to facilitate by providing relevant skills that are needed by the market.
And talking about that, skills, matching the skills that the market needs with the qualifications that
Correct.
you are then offering, is there indeed a match for the two?
Yeah, and I think this is so important, Tammy, so important. In a lot of my talks, and in fact, there was a recent talk that I did for global Auditor General officials. I was invited by the Auditor General South Africa to go talk about the concept mismatch. Mm-hmm. It's a very difficult. If you look at it theoretically, it does make sense. But when you actually take it and say practically, does it then relate to us? One angle of it is that people are overqualified for jobs. Okay, fine. We understand that. Mm-hmm. But the other angle of it is the one that is really highly debated, where it is argued that the skills that SETAs are providing are not relevant to the market. Now, the question is, how is that possible that the SETAs are providing irrelevant skills when SETAs are really anchored by business? So SETA cannot function without business.
So those requirements are actually communicated by business to SETA, saying these are the gaps, these are the skills that we need. SETA then makes sure that the capacity is created. But when it goes back into the market, then businesses are saying
it is not. So now, hence it's important, spot on. I love exactly how you just put it, Tammy. That is why we need to really pin down the actual gap. Because you can't say to me, I can't come to you and say, I'm doing a skills audit. Then you're saying, I'm growing my business in the next 5 years, 10 years. And these are the anticipated skills, okay? Based on the advancements we are bringing in, new technologies we are bringing, we're hoping that we will, or we believe based on research that we will need this type of skills.
And I'm just thinking, for the person who needs to be part of your particular sector, what are their options? Yes, there's fashion. Yes, there's publishing. But talk to us through some of the practical careers that people can actually partake in your sector.
Yeah. So basically, like I've said, they always laugh when I talk about making shoes. And people say, shoe making. I'm like, it's important to I mean, right now everyone is wearing shoes. Imagine how much a business that is. Okay, that is important. That is one. Shoelacing is one of the careers that we have, and I always say, in the rural areas, a lot of people enjoy doing that. Repairing shoes, a lot of people enjoy doing that, and that is one career that you will always find people using their hands, Tammy.
Yeah.
Okay. But we also have 4D printing. 4D printing is amazing. Young people love it. They love the 4D printing. They love, oh my word, 4D printing. For an example, you are able to actually get your shoe size, your feet measured for your shoe size. And young people love seeing that practical things happening from a 4D perspective. It's real-time imaging that then happens. So 4D is actually there. Actual printing, we have got your glass printing, that is also there, and I think it's a real thing now. If you see a lot of people doing the frosting their windows, their glasses at home and all of that, it's another career that we actually have. I've spoken about garment construction. Textile manufacturing as well is another one that is important. Shades, where we teach young people, especially in the rural areas, they take animals and all of that. We show them how to process sheepskin into textile that you can use, whether in furniture, whether in attire. If you come to KZN, most of the time you will see they use a lot of that for traditional gatherings and stuff like that. So we also teach them that type of skill. I'm trying to not be too technical, because in printing we've got a lot of other technical things. I want to talk about things that are practical. I've spoken about writing. Writing is not as simple as that. It's a skill that you need to be taught. Okay, editing.
But what about now? One of those careers.
I know.
I mean, journalists, for example, are a dying breed, because everybody's a journalist on social media. At least they think they are. The same with writing. You can literally go to ChatGPT and they write a novel for you.
And there's an argument that our young people are actually going to compromise their mental capacity, because they no longer want to think, but they want ChatGPT to think for them. So it is therefore important for basic education and higher education to run programs where we are creating awareness and teaching and encouraging young people to continue to write for themselves, read for themselves, reading for understanding and comprehension, because it's easy for them to just write a paragraph and just throw it onto ChatGPT. They always laugh and say, "What is that chat thing?" They say, "Mom, it's ChatGPT." I'm like, and then leave that thing and sit down and write a paragraph yourself. Read it and understand what you're trying to convey to the next person. Writing is the most important skills worldwide. So, and I think we might be moving away from manual work, your paperwork, if you like, to electronics. But even electronics, they have got writing in it. You cannot have technology without the writing in it. So you still need people that can write, because that world will not die. Journalism, the print one, has reduced in numbers, but it has migrated to electronic journalism. And they still have a lot of people reading newspaper online.
So a gathering like today, why is this important? We've just had the budget vote, but earlier on, the minister also did his roundabout. Tell me about why a gathering of this nature is important, and who you've actually interacted with here today.
So today is very important. Tammy, I've been in the SETA, I'm not proud, for 13 years. I'm from business. I was in the mine. I was one of the 20 top executive women at the time when women were like women.
So what are we now?
What are we now? Do you remember when I'm the first?
When you were the first.
Oh my word. Okay, but that time.
But at least we are passing the era first, because we need more women.
Can we
normalize it?
Can we normalize
women in leadership?
And we really have to normalize.
Yes.
and move beyond that and just do real work, man. Can we just demonstrate value? I believe women can do that.
Yeah.
You know, women are so powerful. You know, this morning my daughter was like, I'm vomiting. I'm like, oh, have you had water? Have you? And then when I put the phone down, it's work. You know what I'm saying? And many other things. And it's a gift. It's a special gift that women possess. Now we need to really show value in that. So I left business. I was in audit firms and then mining, and then I came to government. But still, when I go anywhere, man, and I ask them, Sita, do you know what we are doing? I mean, I'm a Sita. I'm a Sita. I am a Sita Maranko show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's so sad because look at this. We are here. But still, I don't know. It's not sinking. So we should not undermine career awareness events like this. It's not wasting money.
Yeah.
It is a meaningful event because we need to entrench the value of skills in our young people for them to know and say, grade 10, I'm not going to university. At grade 10 level, I want to be a photographer. You understand? It is a meaningful career. I don't need to go to university for that. It's a practical career that can take me places. Anything that you put passion behind, trust me, you'll be successful. So today is to really showcase 21 sitters as they were all here. We said every sitter must be here because we've got our deputy ministers and we've got our minister, DG, and all of them here to speak to young people, engage with young people, and make sitters closer, draw sitters closer to our communities so that this can also be top of mind for them. At school, they must already know, man, I want to be an artisan. You know, I want to be an electrician. I mean, right now, when you go into places that are constructing, let us be honest, a lot of people, when you start speaking, someone says, where's Mangati Dumela? West. So we need to be able to have our people taking charge of these opportunities because they are there. But they must then take charge of the opportunities. One key leader in business, one prominent leader in business, one of our subsectors said to me, but you know, Feleng, what we also realize is that our young people are very, spoiled is not a good one, but they are way too ambitious. I said, that's good. But he said, but the problem is that when they finish fashion technology, for an example, they come in and they're now demanding huge salaries like all these stars because, you know, fashion is like a big thing. It's like a, you know, modelers things and you become, what you call this, people that are famous?
Like celebrities.
It's a celebrity.
Yes.
It's a celebrities thing. You know, so now people must see you as celebrity and working with celebrities.
It's the illusion of it all, though.
Yeah.
You know, because they look at the David Tlales, they look at Amakhosa,
That's right.
you know, they look at
and that's where
Pefimo,
they see themselves.
Tula Cindy.
But where are these guys coming from? We worked with Tula Cindy.
Yes.
I've worked with David. I've worked with Tula Cindy. Where are they coming from? There are people behind their success. But they also started from somewhere. And they build this brand. So you need to bring everything together. Your PR, your skill, and you must work on yourself. And you must work on the quality. And we take them to Paris, because we want them to understand. It's not about putting these pieces together. It's how it looks at the end. The quality of what you've produced is what's going to make your David Tlale, your Tula Cindy, and all of that. So this is very important. And I think we're going to be doing more of this, like this, where you see all of us together, because we really have to sell the concept skills, meaning do it for yourself and do it yourself. You can be your electrician, you can be a plumber, you can be, you can be a photographer, you can be a fashion technician, you can be a carpenter. Those skills are important. They're important. You can be a builder yourself. building is not for people that people have. We got a perception that your brick and mortar is for those. No, 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 no. You, it's about acquiring the skill and knowing how you do it. That will help you come up with a business that's gonna be successful because you know it.
And working with dignified work.
Correct.
Ultimately, it's really about being able to earn an honest living.
Yes.
Being able to build your family.
Yes.
Being able to build your
Yes.
community.
Yes.
Being able to stand on your own.
Stand on your
as a
own.
man, as a woman
Yeah.
within your community,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what the
Yeah.
seaters are part
Yeah.
of that entire matrix to
Yeah.
ensure that gets
Yeah.
transported
Yeah.
through.
Universities are there. We support them. They are part of the system. But we are saying, can we have the majority of young people coming into skills? TVET colleges and SETAs making use of the skills world because there's much more in skills. There's something that I was just thinking about now, which escaped me, but I think it was quite important. But yeah, doing it yourself is quite important, and that is why we are promoting skills development. We want our people to do things themselves with their hands and be proud of doing things themselves. They can be their own bosses. They can be their own bosses. I mean, if you're a plumber, you can be able to go to any municipality and say, I've seen your town planning strategy. What is it? What are the plans going to? So what we are also doing as SETAs, we are linking SMME development, the training, to actual qualifications.
Yes.
So that the people then know how to run a business with the skills that they have acquired. So you can be able to go and say, I want your town planning strategy, look at that and see your B strategy, how do I secure? It's just knowledge to help people think on how they can sell themselves so that they can build their brands and build themselves. Rona, many years ago, when you saw a plumber coming in to fix Mama's toilet, it was like, okay, I'm doing some toilet, okay. They'll be walking with pride, to do that. And that was quite a good thing for us to see a lot of people. If you think of artisans, a lot of white people were in that particular area. Not a lot of black people had the opportunity to be in the artisan space. Mm-hmm. So the doors are open.
Yes.
Everybody, colored, black, Indians, go, man. Let's use our hands to build our families and they contribute to the economy of the country.
Dr. Fulengende, what a mouthful. Absolute mouthful. And really what I got from you, and I hope it's what you got as well, is that you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it for yourself. You can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Dream and dream big. Yeah. Go out there and make use and seek out the opportunities because there's an entire infrastructure and system that's literally dedicated to ensuring that you succeed.
Yes.
And that's exactly why the SETAs are here. It's exactly why we are here today in Cape Town after the budget vote. 21 SETAs. Yeah. Skills developers, those who offer training all in one place to ensure that you indeed get to do it.
Yeah.
One thing that has been clear from today is that access to opportunities begins with access to information. The Budget Vote Skills Exhibition at the Grand Parade in Cape Town has done exactly that. What do you and I have to do? We just have to get involved and level up because the opportunities are here. From myself, Tami Ngubeni, until next time.